Uros Plavsic says goodbye to Tennessee. See ya, I'm out. Today's tough question. Will the Vols be better after losing one of their key players next year than they were this past year, where we thought that Uros was going to be a guy who you could dump it in the post and he could find shooters on the perimeter? But that really didn't happen because Tennessee shooters. I'm not sure how much of that was Uros's fault as opposed to defenses backing up at the 3-point line. But the bottom line is, I'll ask you this: Tennessee's basketball team significantly better this season than it was last year.
Yes. This is a lot. This is addition by subtraction, if there ever was one. And look, Uros did not develop the way we all thought he would when he transferred from Arizona State to Tennessee. He was a 7'1", 260 guy. Rick Barnes is known for developing guys over 3 to 4 years. I think it's more than safe to say his career at Tennessee was a massive disappointment. He was averaging last year, 5 points, 4 rebounds. And his field goal percentage was 63% from the field, which you expect with big men who shoot at point-blank range all the time. But he was 34% from the foul line. He was so clumsy when he came down with rebounds. It was so bad that you noticed, and Kentucky laid the groundwork for how to beat Tennessee this year. They just left Uros open and said, we're going to defend the perimeter because we don't think Tennessee's bigs are good enough. And as you noticed, more teams started to play that. Tennessee couldn't play inside out because the idea of inside out is you collapse on the inside, and nobody was ever going to collapse on the inside when Uros was down there. So on Uros, on his skill set alone, I think this is addition by subtraction. But and I don't know how he's going to think he's going to play professional. I don't know where he's going to play professional, honestly. But then there's the other side to it of what you said. There was only really one option as far as three-point shooting last year, and it was Santiago Vescovi. Now, the other guys may have been good spot-up shooters, but they couldn't shoot with the hand in their face, and they were always going to have a hand in their face last year because nobody was going to collapse on the inside. I noticed this year with Rick Barnes, he's gone for more spot-up shooters, which is fine. I think he's banking on Jonas Aidoo taking a huge leap forward and being able to command a huge presence in the post. And if that happens, then having 3-4 spot-up shooters like Jordan Gainey, the son of assistant coach Justin Gainey, who transferred, and Dalton Knecht, who comes from Northern Colorado, along with Vescovi back, that's a pretty good situation to have. And I also, again, I'm hearing a lot of things about Freddie DeLeon. He was a 4-star midterm combo guard, redshirted this past year. He'll technically be a freshman this year. He's 6'5", apparently is an elite shooter. And I mean, we're talking a guy that's an elite shooter with pro prospects in him. So I think that him with Vescovi, there are at least 2 guys now that can create or make something happen, even if they don't collapse on the post. But on top of that, you have to think that Jonas Aidoo will be a bigger threat and draw more attention than Uros Plavsic. I thought that the more Plavsic played last year, the more Aidoo lost minutes. And with JP Estrella and Cade Phillips coming in, 2 other big men, I think they should have better bigs this year. But also have transitioned their game to at least focus more on a guard-oriented style, which is where college basketball is going, and it's where it went 20 years ago, and Rick Barnes had never adjusted.
Okay, but what's the bigger concern, having better bigs or better outside shooters?
Better outside shooters. I think Tennessee had decent bigs last year. If you remember, Josiah Jordan-James can play big. He can play the 4 in college. Now, he can't do that in the NBA if he ever goes there, and he's still testing the waters. But he's 6'6" and athletic. He can play down low, and Olivier Nkamhoua was still pretty good under the basket. So they were decent enough with their bigs last year. They didn't have enough guys who could create with a hand in their face or with somebody on them on the perimeter.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's a better team with Uros back, to be honest with you. I don't know that we know his upside because the outside shooters couldn't take some of the relief off of him. He didn't have that option to kick it outside. So I'm not so sure that they wouldn't be better with – I don't know that we know what Uros was because that people would just clamp down and play defense on him. That wasn't what the offense was designed to do. And it wasn't his fault that his outside guys couldn't hit 3-point shots. So I don't know. I'd rather have the big guy back. I'm not saying he was great, but I'd rather have him and have guys hitting threes than anything else. How much better could he have been if they hit threes that they're supposed to hit?
Somewhat better, but the idea of good bigs is spot up shooters. The idea of spot up shooters is that your bigs are good enough to where they'll be open on the perimeter, and they never were. And again, I think they're fine. I think Jonas Adu can do what Plavsic did and do it better. And he's back. And so Jonas Adu, 6'11", 235. He's not Plavsic size, but he's good enough for college basketball. And I mean, again, Plavsic is kind of proof that in this day and age in basketball, 7-footers need to have skills. They just do. You can't just use your size and will your way to buckets the way you used to be able to in the sport. And I think Adu can do it. And again, Kate Phillips and JP Estrella are coming in. That's 2 more bigs. And I believe that they probably have more skill than Plavsic. One of them's bound to, not to mention Toby Awaka's still there. So you're kind of fine with your bigs. The big thing is that Tennessee needed a change in philosophy and to have better creators and scorers on the perimeter. And I do think they got that through the transfer portal. So I think they're going to be much, much, much better this year.
Yep. Maybe I sound old school, but I'm going with Mr. Jones on the message board. 7-footers don't grow on trees. So as a whole,
like that guy who still teaches big men to play like Kevin McHale.
Well, don't you knock Kevin McHale, my Celtics. Do they finally hang it up tonight? I think so.